Max Verstappen to McLaren? It sounds like a total impossibility, a fever dream of the F1 silly season, but after what we just witnessed at the Miami Grand Prix, the entire paddock is vibrating with a tension we haven't seen in years. Zak Brown has officially dropped a bombshell that has set the Formula One world on fire, and the shockwaves are hitting Red Bull Racing right where it hurts. Is the most dominant driver of the modern era actually preparing to jump ship? In today's deep dive, we are breaking down the absolute chaos behind the scenes, the growing rift between Max and the Red Bull hierarchy, and why the McLaren garage is suddenly looking like the most attractive seat on the 2026 grid. The Miami Grand Prix was supposed to be a standard weekend for the Milton Keynes squad, but it turned into a nightmare of epic proportions. Max Verstappen crossing the line in P5 isn't just a bad result. It's a systemic failure that has exposed the cracks in the Red Bull armor. While Kimi Antonelli and Mercedes were busy flying at the front, demonstrating a level of dominance that felt reminiscent of the early hybrid era, Max was left fighting a car that simply refused to cooperate. We saw the frustration boiling over in real time. The radio messages were sharp, the post-race body language was cold, and for the first time, we saw a world champion who looked genuinely concerned about his team's trajectory. Max openly vented his anger about the tyre strategy and a car balance that felt unpredictable at high speeds, but the problems go far deeper than just one bad setup in Florida. Enter Zak Brown. In the middle of this high-pressure environment, the McLaren's CEO did what he does best. He stirred the pot with a level of precision that felt calculated. Zak didn't just suggest that Max was unhappy. He essentially laid out a red carpet. His statement that nothing is permanent in Formula One was a direct shot across the bow of Christian Horner and the Red Bull leadership. Zak hinted that if the internal politics and the performance dip continue to plague the reigning champions, McLaren is ready and waiting. This isn't just empty talk anymore. Look at the data from Miami. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri securing a P2 and P3 finish wasn't a fluke. It was the result of a massive floor and sidepod upgrade package that has transformed the MCL-38 into a rocket ship. McLaren is no longer a best-of-the-rest team. They are now arguably the only ones capable of consistently challenging the Mercedes Antonelli freight train. But we have to look at the mechanical heart of this issue to understand why Max would even consider such a move. The 2026 engine regulations are the elephant in the room. We are hearing more and more rumors that the Red Bull powertrains and Ford project is hitting significant roadblocks. Internal reports suggest the energy recovery systems are struggling to meet the efficiency targets set by the FIA, leading to those Frankenstein engine fears we've discussed before. On the flip side, McLaren is locked in with Mercedes Power, a manufacturer that has historically dominated major regulation shifts. Max is a driver who values performance above all else. He has no interest in being a hero for a failing project. He wants a car that guarantees his legacy as the greatest of all time. If he loses faith in the Ford-backed PU, a move to a Mercedes-powered McLaren isn't just a wild theory, it's a survival tactic. The paddock is already whispering about silly season, starting earlier than ever. With Adrian Newey's departure still fresh in everyone's minds, the loss of Max Verstappen would be the final nail in the coffin for the Red Bull era. Zak Brown knows this. By making these statements now, he is putting immense pressure on Red Bull to perform, while simultaneously making McLaren the primary destination for any disgruntled superstar. Imagine a lineup of Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. It would be the most formidable pairing in the history of the sport, two of the fastest natural talents on the planet, driving for a team that is clearly on a vertical upward trajectory. So, what does this mean for the next few races? As we head toward Canada and the European leg of the season, every single word from the Red Bull garage will be scrutinized. If the upgrades they bring to Barcelona don't immediately bridge the gap to Mercedes, the Verstappen to McLaren rumors will move from the headlines to the contract lawyers. Max has a break clause in his contract related to team performance and key personnel, and with the way the technical department is shifting, he could walk away much sooner than anyone expected. Zak Brown isn't just talking. He's observing a giant starting to stumble, and he's ready to take advantage of the fall. The drama in Miami wasn't just about who stood on the podium. It was about the shifting power dynamics of the entire sport. Formula One is entering a volatile phase where loyalty is secondary to technical security. If McLaren can prove they have the chassis and Mercedes can prove they have the 2026 power, Max Verstappen has every reason to take the gamble. Do you think Max will actually pull the trigger and leave the team that made him a champion? Or is this just another masterful psychological game from Zak Brown to distract his rivals? The stakes have never been higher, and the clock is ticking toward 2026. Make sure to drop your thoughts in the comments below, because we are witnessing history in the making. If you want to stay ahead of every technical shift and every secret paddock meeting, subscribe to Formula Redline and hit that notification bell. We're covering every angle of this story as it develops. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next high-speed update.